Welcome to the Keep the Faith podcast. I am your host, Tori. And yes, I know y'all probably say, where I been? I done told y'all where I been, but here I am. We're gonna be back on a consistent basis. So we're gonna kick off the month of July. I have guests lined up for the month of July. So your girl is gonna be back on a consistent basis every Sunday evening at 6:30 p.m. So if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, make sure you let me know. You can email me or you can contact me. I'm going to give you all the information once we get through the podcast. But today, I have a very special guest on today. My sister from the College of Charleston, the Cougars, baby.
Go Cougars, baby. Let's go.
What's up, Sandee? Tell everybody, before we get started, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. And of course, we met at the College of Charleston.
Right.
And tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Dr. Sandee Delice. For those of you that don't know me, just meeting me for the first time, I am I'm from St. Croix, the U.S. Virgin Islands. I am one of 7 children. I am smack dab in the middle, and it doesn't mean that I got my way. It just means that I'm smack dab in the middle. As Tori said, we met at the College of Charleston, but I continued my studies at CSU, Charleston Southern University. I'm a special education teacher. I'm a JV coach, JV basketball head girls coach, and I'm also a life coach. So, I just love inspiring people, and wherever it is that I can inspire, that's what I do. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
Listen, you said you know what you just said. You made me feel like I need to go back to school. He's like, yeah, we met at the College of Charleston, but I furthered my studies. I'm like, man, do I need to go back to school?
No, you good, Tori, you good.
Listen, that College of Charleston was enough. That College of Charleston degree was enough for me. And then, of course, I thought about going to get a master's, but nah, I'm good.
Listen,
but basically, I always give my guests an option whether or not I give you a topic or you choose a topic yourself. And of course, you chose a topic, and I wrote it down. You said the topic at hand today, we're going to be talking about trusting the process after a storm in life. Now, basically, how did you come up with that title, and what direction are we going in regards to that title?
Well, life be lifing, like people say these days. Life be lifing. You go through your everyday motions. You have a job, or some people may have kids, right? Or you take care of your family. But sometimes you never know what each day holds. People always say, yeah, tomorrow's not promised. But really, at the end of the day, you don't even really know what the next second holds, what the next minute holds, what the next hour holds, and you come across these road bumps in your life and you feel like, this is not it. Like, how did I even get there? And you feel like you're drowning and I don't even know how I'm going to get my head above the water, but you eventually, if you first and foremost have a belief and you trust in God, trust in your higher being, there is always gold at the end of the rainbow when you put your faith in God and let him steward you in the way that you would like to go. So the process is hard and the process is real. And when you hit those bumps in your life can seem like you don't know which way to go. So, it's not just about, a loss of a family member or losing a job or going through a divorce. A storm in your life can be anything, So, and for each of those, the process may look a little bit different, but at the end of the day, you have to trust that there is something greater at the end of the process if you just persevere through it. So that just means a lot to me, having, gone through an unexpected divorce and just, different challenges that came about. And I really just saw how I had to really focus and just dig into myself, dig into the word, let God just lead, keep my family, as my backbone and, close friends that's like sisters and guys that's like brothers. Just, you got to let people pour into you because this life journey you cannot do alone. At all. Good, bad, or indifferent. You can't do this journey by yourself.
And you said about the unexpected divorce. A lot of times I actually had a family member that went through a very painful divorce, and I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do because it's like life was actually going to be over for them. They did not know where, because life we have a lot of unexpected challenges in life that happens. And when they went through that divorce, like I said, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. What do you say to that person that may have had to go through, because you have experience that I never been married before, so I don't know how that process is. But what do you say to that person that may have gone through an unexpected divorce and they don't know what to do next? Like they're like shaking up, like what do I do next? They think life is over, because my family member literally thought life was over. Like
Yeah.
she loved that man more than she loved herself. So
Right.
once the marriage ended, she thought life was over. So what do you say to that person that feels as if they cannot pick up the pieces and they feel like life is over?
Coming from your perspective, so I'm just going to talk about from a friend perspective. When you come across a person that has gone through a situation like a divorce, what they really need is somebody to just let them talk. Let them talk. No judgment. However you feel. And that's the beginning of having to go through the process. You got to find a place where you can live in your truth. This is what I went through. I was with this man. I loved him. And now I feel like my life is over. Okay, let that be. And you listen to them and you let them talk. But you also say to that person, I'm here for you and I don't need to talk. All I'm going to do is listen. When you're ready for my feedback, I will give you my feedback, because when you get into a situation like this, you're in your head so much. People are talking to you. And to be honest, it's very rare that you're going to hear what they're saying, because what you are in right now is disbelief. You're in a stage of disbelief. You're in a stage of shock. And all you keep thinking to yourself is, how did this happen? What could I have done any differently? One of the first things you go through is like, are you enough? You know what I'm saying? When you feel somebody just walk out on you and you've given everything, like, what did I miss? So you really have to be there for that person. You really have to just encourage them and allow them to go through the motions of what they feel, go through their feelings, but you also have to sit there and say to them, like, you are going to get through this. Right now, you don't believe it. Right now, you don't see a way. Your life is not over. You are going to get through this. And it's going to take second by second, minute by minute, day by day. Because when you just try to look through, I just want to make it through this day so I can get through the next day, that's the hardest thing to do. And then you go through the waves. You're crying, you're up, you're crying, you're laughing, you're looking for something to cheer you up, and you see people walking by, some people, husband and wife, and with their kids, and you feel some type of way. You know what I'm saying? And you feel like you just want to talk to anybody that's going to listen. But, I can tell you from my experience, you don't talk to everybody that wants to listen, because not everybody always has your best interests at heart. So you really just need to find a place where you can be yourself with somebody that will allow you to be yourself, and just talk to them and let them pour back into you, not for you to change it immediately, but for some, because at the end of the day, you've lost your hope, and you need somebody that's going to make you feel like there is hope for you. You're going to come up out of this. You're going to be married again. Life is going to be great again. And it's hard to believe at the moment, but you have to go minute by minute, day by day, week by week. And as you go, and you never give up on yourself. Never. You came into this world by yourself. And even if you're a twin or a triplet, you still came into this world by yourself. Your challenges, the good things, no matter what you go through, it's by yourself. You may share it with somebody else, but at the end of the day, your heart is your heart. Your soul is your soul. Your spirit is your spirit. You still have to go through these things and decipher through it for yourself. So I just tell that person, never give up. Find one or two people that you completely trust, that what they're saying to me is for my good. And you just lean on that person. As long as they let you lean on them, keep leaning, keep leaning, keep leaning. And more than likely, it's going to be raining outside, but you're still going to be able to see the sun through the clouds.
Mm. Oh, you summed it up perfectly.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I would listen, and like you said, you listen to that person, and that's exactly what I did. I listened, and then there were times that I had to just sit there, because there was times where the anger was taken out on me, but I just sat. I was there as much as I possibly could be. And then there's sometimes you go through periods, what I've observed, where you go through periods of isolation where you don't want to talk to anyone, you just want to be to yourself. So when they got in situations where they wanted to be to themselves, I would send them scriptures and prayers and stuff, and like, call me if you need me. And then eventually came around, but it was hard for me to try to help them through. But like you said, sometimes you just have to be there.
Right.
Now, what do you say to that person that, because people are really big on relationships. We just, because I've been in relationships where I just lost myself, because I've been in the same, I hadn't been in a marriage, but I've been in relationships where I lost myself. I lost my sense of Tori. I mean, I had times where, how it is, like when you on social media, you're trying to get over someone, but you find, now this is me being transparent. But you be trying to get over a person, and when it comes to social media, you find yourself stalking their page and like, well, dang, and then you see them with somebody else, and you're like, dang, and it hurts. But when you get to the point where you can see them, I don't know why I call it self mutilation. Like, if I know this gonna hurt me, why am I gonna do this to myself?
And
But
that's what it's
sometimes,
to do.
yeah, I would like look, and then it got to a point where it didn't bother me. Like, I could see it with somebody that don't even phase it. But initially, when I was going through that healing process, when the breakup first happened, I needed to totally shut social media down. But I didn't do that. No, I'm
Right.
stalking. I'm stalking. Like, let me see. You know what I'm saying? Just torturing myself.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, I could see with somebody that don't face. That's when you pretty much over it, when you can see them with somebody
Right.
that don't even bother you. But that
Right.
initial process is really rough. Like, encourage somebody, like, don't be like me. Don't stalk their page. Listen, if you gotta unfriend, block, delete, whatever, don't do that to yourself, because that's self-mutilation. And it actually, for me, I know for me personally, it like prolonged my healing. I became
Absolutely.
stagnant because I was holding on to the pain and not letting it go. So
Right.
what do you say to that person that may have issues like me and feel like they need to stalk the page? Like, let it be. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
everybody's process is different. But what can you say to that person that may want to stalk the page and may not want to
Well,
let it go?
well, you said it best, Tori. Like, stalking the social media page doesn't do anybody any good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are, like you said, prolonging the situation, but you're also hurting yourself. Right. So you stop and you ask yourself, when I get on this page and this person is with that other person and they're looking like they're having a good time, you're not hurting anybody but yourself. Because what you need to understand is, if that person wanted to be with you, they would have been with you. And that's just a pill. And I'm usually a person that shoots straight from the hip. That's a pill that you're just going to have to swallow, right? You got to be, when I say be real with yourself, you have to be real with yourself, right? For me, I was like, I'm hurting. This is not okay. I don't like what it feels like. But I really had to stay in a place where I looked at myself and I said, God, at the end of the day, I believe in you. And if I was supposed to be with that person, I wouldn't be here by myself going through the struggles that I'm going through emotionally. So social media is a blessing and a curse. Leave it alone. I would like to say, you don't want to change too much up that you're doing with your life, because then that puts you in a place where you are forcing yourself to hyper focus on really that other person. You got to think about it in a funny kind of way. While I'm sitting here so focused on not being on social media, I'm thinking I'm not on social media because I don't want to see him. I don't want to see her. I don't want to see anything else. But I'm a person that's like, feel your feels, and I'm weird in a certain kind of way. Like, I don't have a problem feeling the pain that I feel after going through this. I didn't close myself off. I still did a lot of things, but I had my family as my backbone, and friends, but you get on social media, stick with your friends. For me, I got on social media and I found positivity. Like, I went full blown. It's almost like I became obsessed with teaching myself how to get over going through a divorce. So everything I Googled, everything I looked up on YouTube, everything I looked up on Instagram, everything I looked up on Facebook had to do with healing from a divorce. And then you get on there, and there were different people talking about how they healed. And then you found little nuggets that people saying things like, if somebody wanted to be with you, they really wouldn't leave you, right? If somebody wanted to be with you, they wouldn't hurt you. Okay, because there's a different kind of hurt. People say things and it may hurt, but they may come back and apologize and not do it again. When somebody is intentional in causing you pain, very intentional in causing you pain, you have to ask yourself, what kind of value am I placing on myself if I am willing to continue to cry over a person that has shown me that I mean nothing to them?
Mm.
And that is a question you need to ask yourself. So while you're on Facebook stalking and you're getting upset about different things that they seen, you got to first realize hurt people hurt people. Okay. And for a long time, you put yourself in a position for hurt people to hurt you. So now that God has opened the doors and he's caused you to move away from it, focus on your value, focus on your self-worth, focus on building your self-esteem. You don't have to get off of social media if you're using it for the right reasons. But if you find yourself going down a rabbit hole and all you're focused on is the person that hurt you, then you need to leave social media alone, because you're causing yourself more harm. And the most important thing is that person ain't even thinking about you at all. And if they are thinking about you, they're probably not thinking about you in the way that you want them to think about you. So it's easier said than done because I've gone through the process now. But I've had my nights, of crying. I've had my days of crying. I've had my time driving in the car and crying. I've had my time of teaching and having to excuse myself. But I always told myself, Sandee, you are going to make it if you can get past this. Sandee, you are going to make it if you can get past that. And then eventually the if turned into, Sandee, you on your way when? Sandee, you going to feel better when? So I really just poured into myself. Like, I became my biggest fan, not to like being arrogant, but I had to accept that I probably went through this purpose for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So all of the scriptures that I dove into, all of the messages and sermons that I dove into that just spoke specifically to life after divorce and self-worth, it built me up so much that, now I could talk about it, and, I don't feel pain. I don't feel upset. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I look back on my life, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, I didn't even want to hear that joker's name. Now, I mean, I'm good. I'm in a place where now I pray. I pray for him. You know what I'm saying? Because hurt people hurt people. And I'm not in a place to be bitter and be upset. I'm just like, yo, if somebody could really do something like this to somebody, you don't have love in your heart and your psyche is a little bit off. So God compels me. If I feel in a space that I want to be upset, I got to pray for that person and let God have his way. Because when you interfere, the process is so much longer. Give it to God. Let God deal with it. Let God heal you from your head to the sole of your feet, and just go through it. When you cry, cry to him, because your tears are not in vain when you give it to him. That's just the beginning of it. So you really just have to tell yourself that I will get over this. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and it may take me months, it might take me years, who knows? But at the end of the day, I am not going to be this person in the next year or the next 2 years if I just put and pour into myself every single day as much as I can with positivity.
Mm. You just broke that thing, and it not only applies to relationships, but that applies when you talk about praying for the other person. That pertains to family, that pertains to friends. That applies because I find myself people that have hurt me. Now, I'll say this: You already know. We was at the car of Charleston. Hey, you do something to me, I
It's
might
go
not get
time.
you today. I might not get you tomorrow. But guess what? I'm gonna get you.
Oh, I'm
But I'm
coming.
at a point now where I don't even worry about it. I
Right.
give it to God immediately and I pray for
Right.
that person. But I wasn't always here. Like I
Hmm.
said, I used to, if you do something to me, oh, and if you say something and I'm gonna act like I don't know about it, but I'm gonna sneak up on you and I'm gonna get you. But at the
Listen.
end of the day, it ain't even worth it no more. Just pray for that person and move on. Because like you said, a person's psyche, because when there are people that intentionally do things to hurt you, something is wrong with them.
Right.
And it's like with me, when I went through certain relationships, I felt like I blame myself. Like, was I not enough?
Right.
Why do they feel the need to do this to me? When especially when you know that you was good to that person
Right.
and they still hurt you
Yeah.
over and over and over again. And it's like sometimes when we ask God to reveal things to us, and he reveals things to us, and because we don't like his answer, we're like, God, really?
Right.
But he's showing you the answer, but you're not listening. I know I wasn't listening. Like, is this
Right.
the one? And he was showing me, Tori, this, and he'll show, and I will say this: people, when it comes to relationships, family, and friends, people, if you ask God sincerely to reveal things to you, how you gonna know that his answer is real? Is that person is going to continuously hurt you.
Right.
You're gonna keep taking that person, and guess what? They're gonna keep hurting you over and over and over again. And it's gonna
Right.
get to that point where you got to be sick and tired. When you sick and tired of getting hurt, then that's when you chuck up the deuces.
That's right.
Like I'm tired,
Sick
like
and
I'm
tired
tired
of
of
being
crying.
sick and tired. Yeah. But like you said, Tori, it's not just relationships. It's even like,
Mhm.
you think about even losing a family member, that hurts. And you really have a process that you gotta have to go through when you
Yeah.
lose a family member. You think about a family member that may be sick and you're watching them day in and day out in pain and they're laying on the hospital bed, and you praying to God and you want God to just ease their pain, but in God's way, he's like, it's time for me to call my child home. You're in pain, but you don't realize when you think back on it, you remember you say, God, I asked you to take this person out of their pain and out of their misery. I didn't know this is how you were going to do it. You're going to work every day and you want a job and it's that boss, that's treating you unfairly. And you're like, God, just put me in a place where I am respected, and then next thing you know, they call you in, you fired from the job or you laid off and you mad, you just blew mad. Then after a while, you sit back and you like, God is answering these prayers. So one of the things that you really got to sit back is like, we ask God to help us and God give me relief and God show me this and God show me that. But the one thing we forget is that he's not going to answer it in our time every single time. Probably at no time. So while you forget that you had that prayer, God already heard it and he's working behind the scenes. So when it comes up and you mad, after a while, you're like, oh, I forgot. I did pray for that. So now, God, show me, what is it that you are trying to show me as I'm going through this storm? Why me? And what do you need me to do? Because sometimes we are lost and you go across the wayside and he got to reel you back in different kinds of ways. And once you come to the place where you realize, like, God did this for me, that's another part of the process where you really are just starting to let go and you okay with where you're at, because whoever you serve, if you serve God, you respect what he's doing and you just stop. That starts to build you up, because I'm like, you answer my prayer. I wasn't expecting it and my flesh is weak and it hurts, but you know what, you answered my prayer. So I got to
Mhm.
deal with it because I asked you. I can't ask you and then you deliver and I'm mad. Now I know what's going on. So now I got to build me. Show me what I need to do for you through myself. And that's what I'll do, And for me, I just did that. And out of the woodworks, I mean, there's so many women that come to talk to me about divorce. Nobody spoke to me when I was married. Then nobody wanted advice. But going through divorce, God been sending them left and right, left and right. And I'm just like, I'm here for it. If this is I had to be the person that had to bear that pain for somebody else to help them get through it, then I'm game. It is what it is, you know. So I mean, I love the life I live, and I live the life I love, and that's just
Mm,
what it is, you
that's
know. So
awesome.
yeah,
I'm gonna go
it's
through some of the
just
comments.
like, you know, Jonathan said, you know, God's will, not my will. You know, God's
Yes,
will, not my will, and that's where it is. And when you remember that, life gets a little bit more easier when you're going through this process, for sure.
absolutely. And I'm
Yeah,
gonna go through Roland Keith's comments. He said, God is a psychological creation that is signifying ultimate ideality. The concept of God is just a manifestation of humanity. He also says belief become a part of your comfort zone and remain with you even after the underlying facts have changed or been forgotten. He
right,
also says delusional characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external realities, mystical spiritual beings that are held despite inconge- ugh, incontrovertible evidence to the contrary to reality. And he also says the meaning of the word faith is strong belief in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual conviction rather than proof.
right.
And Keidra
Yes,
says, hello. Hey Keidra. This
sir.
is, this is good. You're like actually been pouring into me. And that you actually touched on something that I kind of I was like, I said, Sandy, go on there. I was like, Lord, I didn't want to get emotional today. But when you talked about when you were grieving a death, and of course we lost our sister, and it's like for that I'm still struggling with that. So when you
Yes,
said that, I was like, "Ooh, Lord!" But
yes,
when it comes to that, like just like you said, when a person is sick, you want you praying for their healing. I know for me, I just knew that she was gonna be a guest on my show, and she was gonna talk about
absolutely.
how she can, and that she was gonna talk about how she came through.
Right,
I've been praying for the healing, but I did not know the healing was gonna be on the other side.
right, right,
But like you always tell me, Tori, that was necessary. You know, you go through the process of that grieving journey, but it is what it is. But of course, we gonna still have our moments when it comes to that. But because I my thing was, and I'll be honest, and I talked to some other family members that we went through a process of being angry. Because
right.
sometimes grief, when it comes in waves. And
Mm,
sometimes when you're dealing with grief, you find yourself being angry. Like, God, why this had to happen?
right.
Because I had like she was the fifth friend that I had that was diagnosed with cancer.
Yes.
The other four friends, they are in remission. So I'm like, why she could be in remission?
Right.
I couldn't understand that.
Right.
But I had to realize that she served her purpose
Yeah.
and it was time for her to go.
Right.
But the selfish part of me didn't want to let her go.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
I still don't want to let her go. But
Right.
it is what it is. But that's part of that process, that part of that pain, because I'm still going through that pain.
Absolutely. And you're going to go through it for a while, you know, I mean, and anger is a part of the grieving process. It's one of the
Yeah.
stages of grief. You're angry, you know, but you know, like you, I keep her obituary right by my mirror in the bathroom, and I see it every day, you know, and I just look at it and I'm like, man, Key. And then immediately I'm like, but God, I accept what you did. Because I convict myself like, you telling God that you're not okay with what he does. And it happens every time. You know, I find myself feeling sad just like you. Like I posted the other day, I was walking on the street and I looked up and I just started crying and crying and crying. Because all I could think about was her. And I wanted to see her in the clouds, but my common sense was like, she's not going to appear in the clouds, you know? And then while I'm walking the dog, I just had to stop and I was like, but God, your will be done, and I'm hurting. And then the tears just went away, you know. So anger is a part of grief, and you have to grieve. You know, when I teach my students, I teach kids with emotional disabilities, and the one thing I say to them is feel your feelings. Feel your feelings, because if you stifle your feelings, you're not growing emotionally at
Mm.
all. You're not helping yourself and you're not helping anybody else around you. And I can't tap into your emotions and where your mind is at if I don't let you grieve. I got to hear what you're saying. I got to see what you're feeling. Because I could look at you all day long and smile all day, but I walk around with so much pain, and you'll never know until I decide that I want to be vulnerable and just open up and speak. So I try to be a person that just puts myself in a position where people trust me so they can just talk and just bare their souls. And it's not for gossip. It's not to say, hey, what's no, that's not me. You know what I'm saying? I listen because I honestly and genuinely want to help. That's what got me into wanting to be a life coach, because I want to help. And you have to be able to feel what you're feeling. If you're afraid of what you feel, you can't really genuinely feel for nobody else. You can't give love to nobody else if you're afraid of showing them I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm excited, all the emotions that you have. You got to be able to share these spaces with people. And it's not for them, it's for you. It's who you are. It's you being vulnerable. Like I feel like I'm a true person because I don't feel like I'm afraid of what I feel. I probably go back and be like, man, I shouldn't have cried about that. But guess what? I already did, and I feel better about it. So feel what you're feeling. You lose someone, cry about it as long as you have to. You end up in a relationship that don't work out, cry about it as long as you have to. You have a friend or you have somebody else that you were there for that person 10 toes down, and they turn their back on you and they backstab you. Cry about it as much as you want to, because here's the thing that I always tell people. I have a friend that said to me, are you ever going to be married again? And I look at her like, why would you ask me such a question? Like, when he left, he didn't take the love that's in my heart. I love love. I love love, and I love people. So whenever I get into another relationship, I'm not going to go in blind. I have wisdom, but I'm not going to withhold my love from the person that I'm with, because then I'm cheating them and they're paying for somebody else's transgressions. And I'm not about that life. I love love. And if I'm not giving my full love to you and I'm making you pay for something else, how am I supposed to expect you to love me completely? Whether it's friendships, whether it's a spouse, whether it's my siblings, you just got to love people and let the chips fall where they're made. There's no fear in love. You cannot
Mm.
be afraid of love. And that's just the bottom line. You give it all you got. Love people the way you love them. At the end of the day, God gonna take care of it. You may not ever see it, but God is always working behind the scenes. And if he can take you out of something and cause you to go through pain to bring you to some glory, then why not love somebody else and believe that he's also gonna take you through that? He never stops. So I love love, like I love love, like I love loving people. And that's just the way it is, you know.
Hey, girl, this is blessing. This you, girl, you blessing my soul. Roland says both emotional intelligence and emotional maturity are the tools one needs to move through difficult times. Absolutely, I totally agree. And let me go
Big
back
talk,
to
Roland. Big talk. That's true.
And then let me go back to another comment I missed with Kedra. She said, I did with my dad who died of bladder cancer, but then I realized I was being selfish, wanting him to stay, but I was relieved that he wasn't in pain anymore.
Right.
Man,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
trying
hard.
to tell you that whoo, I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell you that grief and that anger and whoo, wanting to hold on. And
Yes.
Christine, I'm sorry, says that's deep. What you were saying, so you were
Yes,
dropping so many
Sissy.
jewels.
You
You was
know,
dropping so many nuggets. I'm just like,
I
whoa,
just speak from the heart,
I'm
you
gonna have
know.
to go back and watch this for myself.
I
'Cause this
appreciate it.
is
I just
good
speak
to
from the
me.
heart, man. I just like to be real. I just like to be
And
real. It comes with
and
what
you
it comes
know,
with.
sometimes when you actually when it comes to friendships, and there are friendships that you could be like 10 toes down. It's like one day you speaking to this person, next day you're not talking. And I
Right.
know with me, I value friendship. So sometimes friendships, when the breakup of friendship just as worse as a romantic relationship, because and it
Uh-huh.
seems like in some cases, why I don't know why it seems like sometimes the friendship be hurting worse. I don't know, especially if you've been like 20 plus years,
Right.
and then my thing about it, I think a breakup of a friendship that I had, what hurt me was like they had no integrity. You know how when you share things, personal things with people, and because you're no longer friends,
Yes.
They telling everything. And I'm the
Yes.
type of person, I don't have to talk to you ever again in life, but
Right.
I'm never gonna share or expose things that you shared me in private. I'm just
Right.
not that type of person. But I had to
Right.
realize not everybody has that type of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
there's some people that as soon as and then you question yourself, well, dang, were they ever my friend?
Right.
Like
Well,
I
that
was
just
their
goes
friend.
to that just goes to what Roland was talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's the emotional intelligence and emotional, maturity, right?
Yeah.
Because just because we're not friends no more, I am going to put you on blast. Come on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's so many things that I could say. There's so many things I could talk to people, anybody. Of course, I have people that I talk to, but I could
Mm-hmm.
get on social media and I could just list a whole bunch of things that I've been through. You know what I'm saying? But for what? For
Mm-hmm.
what? I'm past that. I'm healing. I'm still healing. I'm not healed. I'm still healing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
my dad died in 1989. I'm still healing. My uncle died. My grandmother died. I'm still healing. I was married. He had kids. I don't speak to him. I'm still healing. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like I said, I always come back to me. I got to take care of me because you love the people that love you and the people that don't want to love you, then you just pray for them and let them go on about their business. Right? Because I can love you, but it don't mean I have to be in your face every single day. It don't mean I have to call you, especially if you don't want nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? I can love you from a distance. And that's just what it is. So you got, like he said, you got to be mature when these types of things happen to you,
Mm-hmm.
because you'll find yourself just going off the handle. And just like when they say, life and death is in the power of the tongue, and some things you can't just take back. So you need to be sure what you say you mean. Say what you mean and mean what you say, because you either got to live with it if it's something you didn't want to say, or you're going to be hurting because that guilt is going to be inside of you. And the worst thing that can ever happen in your life is when you got to walk around with your own guilt, because nobody can help you with that. That's a process you got to go through by yourself, you know. And that is the type of stuff that just give yourself relief, So be true to yourself. Love people honestly, love people genuinely. Tell people when they hurt you if you feel the need to. If you can get over it without talking about it, then be so. It don't make you weak. It don't make you less of a person. It just means that one, I'm gonna give this person grace, and two, life goes on. Like I love you. So you say something to me, I might be like, man, Tori said this to me. I might be upset. But eventually, because I respect our friendship, I'm going to eventually have to come to you. There's some friendships that I've had and they say what they say, and I chuck up the deuces and my life goes on. That,
Right.
you got friends, you got family that's worth it. You know what I'm saying? They're worth it. Not because they said something to you that says I'm worth it, but because you've loved them, you've seen them, you know the worth of this value, the person in your life. They bring value to your life. So
Mm.
it's just what it is. You got to let the chips fall where they may. Love yourself first, and in turn, you're going to know how to love somebody else genuinely and with pure honesty. And as long as you're doing that, that discernment is going to be there. It's going to be there.
That's good, sir. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
You got to come on for count. Listen, I should have had you on last Sunday for the counseling. Golly. Let me go through some of the comments. Roland said the failing component in love and relationships is the level of emotional intelligence and emotional maturity. I totally agree. You
I
just was
agree.
saying
I
that.
agree, Roland.
And then Christine says, once words are said, they are hard to take back.
That's facts.
And
That's
then
facts.
Loving My Lot says, yes, self-care is very important. Protect your peace.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
then Roland also says one must have a clear definition of what love is before one embarks in such a thing. Yeah, because love means different things to different people. What I
Right.
consider to be love, you may not consider to be love. And then
Absolutely.
everybody love language is so
Right.
different. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you
Yes.
actually have to have those hard conversations. And that's something that you said, Sandy, that I think was so good. Like you said that when someone says something, you have the choice whether you address it or not. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning for me personally that when people say things to hurt me, that I have to address it, because a lot of times I would not address it. But what
Right.
end up happening is when I don't address it, then something else is said and I still don't address it. But then you get to the point where it seems like everything piles up and then you just snap off. So
Yeah.
I'm still in that process now of learning to address things when it happens. And
Right.
I have a friend in my life like, listen, if I say something, I do something, tell me then, address, don't wait.
Right. Don't
Because
let it
I was
fester.
bad. Yeah, I was bad about not saying things right then. But I'm learning now to address the issue then so that I don't blow up later. Because
Absolutely.
things pile up and you fester, and it's never good. So I'm
Yeah.
learning now to address issues head on when it happens,
Mm-hmm.
and don't wait.
Right. Don't wait. I want to touch on this that Love in My Life said, to move forward, you have to forgive your past.
Mm,
You have to forgive your past. That is so important because here's the thing, to move forward, you forgiving your past, but most importantly, you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself. No excuses. I could look back in my past when I was going through a rough time and some of the things that I said, not so much what I did, but the things that I said, you know, being mature about the situations. You're like, when this person said that, I probably shouldn't have said that. When this person said that, I probably shouldn't have said that. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with a person that knows how to push those buttons and get you on that level where you seem like you spazzing out, you'll say all kinds of things and they use it as ammo against you. They use your words against you. So like Roland said, your past is the teacher for tomorrow. It's not like I learned this part. I didn't just learn how to be a woman after I've gone through a divorce. I've learned how to be a better person, a better listener. I've learned how to sit back in silence and just listen to what's going on around me, or let my spiritual being just talk to me, before I respond. I don't respond to a lot of things immediately anymore. If I do and I'm kicking it, I might say something to the person that's with me. But the person that actually offended me, I don't say something immediately because I want to make sure I don't just come off on a handle and say something like Christine said that you can't take back. Because especially in a text message, that's the biggest
mhm.
misunderstandings. Because the way
Oh
you sent
God.
me a text is not the way that I might read that text message.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to really just stay in your lane, trust yourself, know that no matter what somebody say to you, trust yourself, right? I know if I go off this
Mhm.
way, it's about to be on.
Mhm.
But I know if I sit back and I just chill, then I
Mhm.
probably will have a better understanding and I could go at this situation from a more mature place, or a better understanding of why they said that or why they did whatever it is that they did. But, life is about growth. Life is about growth. Everything that you go through, you got to be willing to grow. And if you think about kids when they grow up, you say kids have growing pains. Ain't no growth without pain. There is no growth without pain. Things that are
Mhm.
happy. Yeah, I did it. But somewhere along the line, there's something that happened that caused you to grow to be in the position that you are now. So take a roll, make sure your words are seasoned with salt, like it says in the Bible, season your words with salt. So that just means be careful what you say, don't respond, think, and speak from a place of love the best that you can. That's the honesty
Right.
of it. Yeah.
And, and then Roland also says one can either react to something or respond to something, and there's a massive difference between these two. Ooh,
Yes.
that is
Yes.
so good, Roland.
Big difference. Big difference.
Yes. And you
Yes.
said something earlier about about in regards to the text. Oh my God. When I tell you
Hmm.
I have misinterpreted some text messages like mad for no reason, because
Right.
that was not their intent, but I took it a totally different way. That's why now I don't like the text as much, because
Right.
so many times the text messages, especially, don't send me a text message with all caps. I'm thinking you yelling at me.
Yeah.
All caps. Listen, all
Right.
caps, and you put an exclamation mark on the end.
Hello.
Don't do
Hello.
that.
I'm ready to respond right back and let you know what time it is.
What? Don't
No.
do that. Just pick up the
Listen,
phone.
listen. I've had situations where people have seen me to my face and not said anything, and then
Mm,
text me after the fact. And I'm not gonna lie, I looked at that text and I deleted it. I
yeah.
deleted it because I could already feel what that text did to me. You know what I'm saying? I like Loving My Lock said, I'm in a place where look, I'm all about protecting my peace. After I've been through what I've been through, my peace, like peace has such a massive meaning for me that I protect it at all costs. If it means I got to remove myself from a situation, delete a text, don't read it, not it's just what I got to do because I got to protect my peace. Because when you unsettled and your spirit is unsettled,
Hmm.
it get in the way of your alignment. You know what I'm saying? And when you mess up your alignment with God, it's oh gosh, you want to talk about a horrible feeling? That is one of
Yeah.
the worst feelings when your alignment is just off. And I've been there. And it's taken me a long and a hard time to try to get back in alignment, because the flesh is so weak, but you got to be intentional. You got to be purposeful. You got to know that everything that I'm doing, I'm driven for a purpose, so you just have to make sure that you are protecting your peace at all times, at all times.
Wow. This was so good to me. Oh my god. Listen, it's like 46 minutes. Gee. I said we was gonna be on here 20, 30 minutes.
30.
Man, you preaching to the choir.
Hello, listen.
Listen,
Time time is time. You
you
can't get
saving
back
some
the
souls.
time, so why not use it wisely?
You saving some souls today. So what do you say to that person that's maybe going through some things, some storms in life, but they do not have a relationship with God or a higher power? They're trying to navigate through this thing called life without any type of faith or anything. What do you say to that person? Because a lot of people think that they can do things in their own strength when that is not even the
Absolutely.
case. So what
Yeah.
do you say to that person that may be struggling, that don't, or they could possibly be losing faith, or they
Mm-hmm.
don't have any faith at all? What do you say to that person that could be struggling with that?
I just somebody like that, I just say everybody needs somebody, right? And if you're not a person that's spiritual and you don't believe in God, a higher being, whatever it is, find you a counselor. Speak to a counselor. I mean, there are counselors out there that are not religious based. They're just here to help you and listen. Find yourself a good life coach because everybody don't want to go to a counselor because of the word counselor. Life coach is more laid back, but I just say to them, don't think that when you're going through a hard space in life that this is a journey that you can do by yourself. Because if we didn't need anybody else, I won't be talking to you, and I'll be the only woman on this earth. Probably the only person because I don't need nobody else. Okay. Life is not meant to be lived alone. There's a reason that we all have our different gifts and our different talents and different things that we do. And there is somebody for everybody. And I'm not talking about relationships, I'm talking about friendships. You know, I'm talking about you can find a stranger on the street and you can bare your soul to that person because you don't know them from Adam. So guess what? It's no judgment. All they're going to do is listen. So don't feel like no matter what you're going through, a loss of any sort, anything, you don't have to go through this by yourself. A lot of times people want to go through things by themselves because they are afraid of what they're going to feel. A lot of people don't talk to other people because you got to pull off this mask and you got to rip off that brick that's over your heart because somewhere along the line, you don't want to seem like you soft. You don't want to feel like somebody's going to take advantage of you. You don't want to seem like you weak. But the weakest thing that you could do is be silent. You know what I'm saying? They say silence speaks volumes, good and bad, good and bad. You can sit and you can soak in the silence and just be tearing yourself up. There is somebody that is always out there that is willing to listen to you, right? Communication is both ways. All the time, it doesn't mean that I have to talk. I can sit and I can listen. So don't try to go through this life by yourself. Don't try to go through that road by yourself, right? When you're going through something, your blinders are on. Find somebody else to be your headlights that's on that car. Find somebody that's able to navigate this road for you until your heart is ready to trust and be open about what you're going through. But do not think that this is something that you have to go through by yourself at all. Somebody is there for you, and that's
Absolutely.
what I would tell them. Somebody is always willing to listen to you, and it don't have to be family member. You know,
Mm,
we
that's
were not
good.
meant to do this life alone.
That's good. Christine
Yeah,
says you just keep motivating them so they can eventually find their way home and build a good relationship with the higher power.
absolutely.
And Roland says the answer to that is to develop emotional intelligence and emotional maturity. And then Roland also says, see a good psychotherapist, as that's my gig. and
Yeah,
then and then Roland also says emotional overwhelming is a product of a lack of cognitive control.
cognitive control.
See, I couldn't
Yes.
see it.
Yeah,
You
but
said it
when
perfect.
you, I mean, and I agree with Roland, but you also have to remember that everybody did not walk the same paths of life. A lot of people can come from broken homes. A lot of people can come from being abused. A lot of people can come from a life of not knowing where their next meal was coming from, right? And you got to think about a grown person that has gone through from the time they were a little kid, from birth all the way through middle school or high school. And all you can think about is, where's my next meal coming from? Everybody's coming to school with new clothes. I don't have new clothes, right? When I go home today, I don't even know if my mom's going to be there. I don't know if my lights are going to be on. So everybody in their life did not have the space to develop emotional intelligence or emotional maturity or cognitive control. So you got to be in a place where you want to give people grace, because my journey and your journey is not the same. You know what I'm saying? I teach in a school, and some of the stuff that some of these kids go through, it breaks my heart. Because never in my life at 46, I still haven't gone through some of the things that they have gone through. And I expect you to have the same emotional intelligence as me. That's unfair. I got to work with you. I got to walk with you. I got to give you grace. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm an adult, it doesn't mean that I don't have the mind of a child. And it's not because I choose to be immature. It may just mean that all through my life, I've had nobody to show me how to be emotionally mature or emotionally intelligent, how to control my emotions and go through this and that. And only thing I know how to do is fight. Only thing I
Mhm.
know how to do is fight, and I see it. Right. And these are things that need to be taught. And you're absolutely correct. So you got to be welcoming with open arms so that somebody doesn't feel like you judging me. I'm gonna meet you where you at. I can't go up here with my vocabulary if I notice your vocabulary is down here, right?
Mhm.
I can't ask you to meet me in a fancy restaurant for us to eat, when I notice that you're looking for something on the street to eat, and I speak these things not to just talk. I've lived it. I've gone into Chick-fil-A, bought food for me and the homeless man, and he smelled awful. But it broke my heart to watch him sitting at his table by himself and everybody else in Chick-fil-A with their families. So I got my tray and I sat with him, and I bared the smell and I bared the look of him. And he didn't speak to me at all. And I just kept speaking to him. And I asked him if it's okay if I could sit with you. And I did. He said, okay, shook his head, and I sat with him. And I just ate. I mustered it up. It was hard, but I ate and I ate. And all I can think to myself is, how many times have you sat in this Chick-fil-A and nobody ever even once spoke to you?
Mm.
And I took it upon myself, and I'm not saying this to be higher than anything else. It's just the way that my mind works. I don't see people on the street and shy away from them. I talk to anybody. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know what somebody been through and how they've been. And most importantly, just like this, it could be you.
Right.
And you want somebody to give you that same thing that you gave to somebody else. So life is all about circles. It's about a circle. You were young, then you're old, and you go back to being a child. So while you're living in your goodness of the Lord or your higher being, you thank him, because at any given time, you never know what can happen. It could be taken away from you. And the person that you saw that you turn your back on will be the person that'll share their cardboard box with you, and that's just the way that it is. So you just gotta just love people.
Wow, that was good. So, with that being said, we're approaching the hour. What are some of your final thoughts in regards to your title at hand, Trusting the Process After Storm? What are your final thoughts?
Trust in the process does not mean that it's going to be easy. You have to be willing to do the work. It's like losing weight. You have to be willing to do the work. You have to be honest with yourself. You can't expect that tomorrow things are going to be better and you're going to smile again. I'm telling you, it's plenty of days of not smiling. It's plenty of weeks and plenty of years of not smiling, but you have to believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and things will get better as long as you want to keep pouring in yourself. I'm not going to say as long as you keep doing it, because it's hard to pour into yourself when you're struggling. When
Mhm.
life is hard, it is hard to find the energy to pour into yourself. I'm just asking that you find the will, the want to, find the want to do better for yourself, because that want to is eventually going to become a reality as long as you don't give up. That person that you were before you went through these struggles, you can be that person again. And that didn't happen overnight. You were an infant, you were a toddler, you were a teenager, you were a young adult, you're an adult, however your life goes. All of those things came with waves and cycles of growth. So just because you're struggling, it does not mean that this is the end. Don't give up on yourself, and nobody else is going to want to give up on you. You got
Mm,
this.
that was good. That was so good. Let me go through a couple of comments. Christine says you have to go through the storm to see the sunshine and the rainbow at the end.
That's
And
right.
then Roland also says to want to, one must first be aware of.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's
Now,
true. You got to be
Sandy,
aware. Yes, ma'am.
Sandy, you got to come back, girl.
Yeah. I'll be glad to come back. I'll be glad to come back.
Listen, y'all, would y'all believe Sandy claimed she was scared and nervous?
Oh my
Does it
gosh.
seem like she was nervous? Not
I
at
was
all.
nervous. I was nervous 10 toes. Ah, I was nervous,
Well,
but
listen, you definitely gonna be coming back because this was good to me. I'm actually going to have to re-air this because this is very good to me. Like as I was asking you questions as you were speaking, you were actually, you don't realize it, but you was actually pouring into me. Not only the people that are viewing and watching, but you was also pouring into me. So I want to publicly say thank you, thank
I
you, thank you.
appreciate
So you're definitely gonna be back on the podcast. So those
it.
everybody was in the comments, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Thank you so
y'all.
much for watching. And if you missed the beginning, make sure you hit that replay button. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm actually going to re-air this as well. Probably this evening tonight, but I'll put it on my page when I re-air it. But this is a must watch. And
Thank
this
you.
is the first real episode
Thanks for
since,
having me, Tori.
listen, you definitely gonna be back. So
Thanks for
hey,
believing in me, Tori, because when you ask me my last words and you say, what do you want to tell the people? You thought enough to say, Sandy, I'm going to have you on. So there's something that you saw that made me feel like I could do it. So that's what it's about. Somebody believes in you, and it's not that I didn't believe in myself. Somebody believes in people, see things that you don't see.
right.
So I trusted your judgment when you say, Sandy, get on here. And I was nervous, but I can honestly tell you I have enjoyed it. I feel like I'm in my element when I get to inspire people and encourage people and just be real and be honest. And some of
Yeah.
my family is on here, so I just appreciate them. And for those of you that I don't know, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being on here.
Yeah,
Definitely.
this was definitely good. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys. Like if you missed it, make sure you go back and watch the replay. And like I said, I will re-air it tonight.
Thank you.
But and we're gonna end. Want you guys to have a great end of your Sunday. As soon as you close your eyes, it's gonna be Monday.
Hello. Hello. Back to the grind.
So you guys have a great evening. And like I always say at the end of each podcast, you may bend, but don't you dare break. You guys have
Hello.
an amazing evening. Ta-ta.
Thank y'all. Be good. Thanks, Tori.